one of the features of sociopaths is that they reverse everything. Everything they're talking about and accusing someone else of is what they are. So you're looking at the two sociopaths in power, and you should listen to this ridiculous speech to poke holes through their lies. Now, President Trump used actual facts and numbers, not fear. And what they did is they tried to say he's using fear when the fear is in people that want to come in here and kill us. And the mention that he did was that there's human trafficking and drug trafficking, uh, and that is now mainstream because President Trump has brought it mainstream. This was the big secret that they had, that before 2016 election and WikiLeaks we didn't talk about, we didn't even know about, but now it's mainstream because of Trump, and they have to say it on different news things. What these two idiots did in stoic faces looking in front of this country is lie, and they pushed fear, and then they pushed manipulation, and then they faked what's wrong. And you guys can answer this because I don't know this for a fact. I've never heard anybody but a president state my fellow Americans when they're giving a speech. It might be done. I've only had 3 to 4 years into politics. I've only heard presidents say it. So can anybody let me know if other people say it in government? They don't say it on mainstream media. I've never heard any other senators saying it or any other Congress calling people my fellow Americans. I've heard it out of the lips of different presidents. So that being said, that's just a detail, but Chuck Schumer is actually trying to act like he's the president, which and Nancy and Chuck both think they are more powerful than the president. They think they run and own this country, which is actually how much power the Democrats have had, and they've lied for so many years about Republicans that they have just demeaned that word. But they do think they run this country. They think they own the right to run anything they want from the White House. And you need to listen carefully in this speech while they're talking about how they want to spend money, add cameras, do all these things. They've had 40 years to do anything to save this country from anything. And they voted it in many times, and they never did anything. And now that Trump's doing it, they're trying to invent all these other means, which they already could have done and never did. And the most effective thing from all the countries that have walls, and these people have walls around their own homes, but they don't want a wall to end their slush fund and the way government is actually run, which is through drug and child trafficking. And they haven't quite come out and said that. It's people like us that say it, that get targeted for it because it's the truth. But what is so scary about their speech is the fact that they both think they are the president. And they're trying to address people from that power. And they're already, you can just see they're drunk with power. But the one other most telling thing in this is they're saying now, let's open the government, but we'll fix our issues. Well, guess what? They had 2 years since Trump won to deal with their differences and get things done, and they didn't. And all they want to do is get it back open because it is on their shoulders. And also, as civilians, they can be arrested when Congress is in session. And when the government is shut down, these two people are not even exempt from being arrested, nor is anyone else. People keep trying to state all these things that they think are going to happen and they wish they're going to happen. And there's a lot of channels that project this arrest and that arrest. Everybody, none of them have happened. They they didn't even fire Sheriff Israel. So, you know, people love to think that there's all this stuff happening in the back, and some handfuls of things are. But until you see the major players arrested inside this Democratic Party, we're in big trouble still. And they don't like to do it, and we don't have any leaders to do it. And Victoria Tensing and Joe DeGeneva were on there tonight. I forget what show they were on, and what they stated was that Huber did nothing, and he hasn't even contacted one of the 12 witnesses that know everything that could help get any of these people arrested, and they are doing nothing. He is doing nothing. Nothing. And Jeff Sessions is the one that hired him. He wrote a report. There were crimes listed in the report, and they haven't done anything. And what happens when they let these witnesses die? Nobody protects them, and then there's no witness. So these people continue on, never getting charged. And the swamp is so thick, it's even gotten tighter and built itself up even deeper, so that they have now frozen the acting attorney general. And again, people keep thinking silence means they're doing all these things. You know, if there were indictments published and arrests made and people charged, those things become public. So you need to stop having fantasies that all this is getting done and that by the end of this year it's going to be fixed. We will be lucky if 1 to 2 to 3 of these predators get arrested. And one other thing, I don't have any concrete information on Ruth Ginsburg. They say she broke her hip. She might have. They say she had cancer and surgery. She might have. At this point, they're just sitting on it, and she hasn't been in court, but she isn't retired yet. She hasn't resigned yet, and so we don't know what's happening, and that's a very, very dangerous thing, because that's thwarting the efforts to replace her with someone else and to put in a constitutional judge and replacement, and it's holding up, anything that's going to happen. But in the meantime, they can still get her signatures as long as she can write. And somebody told me, which is absolutely disgusting, that right before her surgery or hospital visit or something, they actually went in and got her to sign something, and she's not even coherent enough to know what she's signing. And the fact that they've just used someone that much, to me, makes me sick. They need to retire her. But what they are afraid of, and they know, is that under Trump, she's going to be replaced with someone who abides by the Constitution and takes down the abortion business. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But these two people are absolutely frightening and scary, and they both think they are the joint president of the United States, not Speaker, not Congress. They think they are Trump.